It's plain as day to me that the New York SAFE Act is unconstitutional. But don't take my word for it. Listen to what this judge has to say. Last week, I took a trip along with a whole bunch of other SCOPE members from all over the state to lobby our elected officials for full repeal of the New York SAFE Act. Riding in the vehicle with me was a recently retired judge. He had been a judge for 30 years. He graduated from Cornell, brilliant guy. He wrote up his own bullet point presentation of what his problems with the New York SAFE Act were. And I'm going to read that verbatim to you. His name is Jim, recently retired town judge here in the state of New York, and I'm not going to tell you his last name because I didn't contact him for permission, but here's what he had to say about the SAFE Act. The New York SAFE Act does virtually nothing to prevent or inhibit criminal acts, but unduly burdens law-abiding citizens exercising a constitutionally protected right. The ammunition background check and the database to be developed from those checks will have little or nothing to do with preventing crime, but will give the state substantial knowledge of how many and what types of guns law-abiding citizens possess. It's a backdoor to de facto gun registration. Folks, that ammo background check is a lot worse than most people realize it's going to be. The mental health provisions of the New York SAFE Act provide no due process and are already being abused. Common sense supports the idea of keeping guns out of the hands of people with severe mental problems who are a danger to themselves and or to others. But there must be due process. New York State has already used this provision with no due process, without people being adjudicated mentally ill, to strip the gun rights from over 35,000 New York citizens. Revocation of handgun permit now mandates that all guns, including rifles and shotguns, be surrendered or seized. So if you lose your pistol permit for any reason, and New York State can basically take it away for just about any reason, the judge can, you lose all your guns, long guns and rifles together. Just think about that before you get behind the SAFE Act and support it, and that 5-year recertification process for every single handgun owner. If they decide or they figure out a way to revoke all those handguns when we recertify, they can take everybody's guns. Local judges are often mandated to suspend or revoke handgun permits and to order the surrender or seizure of all guns before conviction and often even before arraignment. But they have no authority to restore privileges or return guns surrendered or seized even if the defendant is acquitted. There is no mechanism in the law for those judges to return those guns. Gun-free zones are a bad idea. Lunatics or terrorists seeking to create maximum carnage have and will continue to exploit gun-free zones to murder innocents. Are liberals willing to sacrifice more children and others to advance their anti-gun agenda? Many people are in violation of this law without even realizing it. A person with a Remington 1187 shotgun with a thumbhole stock, a gun commonly used for hunting turkey, would be in possession of an assault weapon and possibly not even realize it, but still be subject to arrest and or prosecution. Most gun owners would support mandating stiffer penalties for the commission of violent crimes, assault, rape, robbery, burglary, etc., committed with the use of guns. Perhaps add 10 years to what the sentence would otherwise have been, and allow no possibility of parole for these types of crimes. Such laws might actually help deter criminal use of guns and would not impair the rights of law-abiding citizens. Let me preface this next one by reminding people that Governor Cuomo said in his big speech leading up to the SAFE Act, "You don't need 10 bullets to kill a deer." When people misuse cars, drunk driving, road rage, etc., and kill innocent people, legislators do not propose banning cars. They create laws to punish the people who misuse cars and kill or injure people. I've never heard an elected official say in response to a criminal motor vehicle tragedy, "Nobody needs 8 cylinders to buy groceries," and motor vehicle ownership is not a constitutionally protected right. Liberals consider a free government-issued ID card to be an undue burden to the right to vote, but have no problem burdening the constitutional right to keep and bear arms with all sorts of rules, regulations, background checks, and costs. Folks, those aren't my words. Those are the words of Jim, a recently retired town judge here in New York State, pointing out what we already knew. The New York SAFE Act has nothing to do with making anybody safer, and everything to do with taking away a constitutionally protected right for from law-abiding citizens. I'm Van Prepper. Thank you very much for watching. Happy shooting, everybody.